Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Shakeman, and welcome to episode 2 of Waves Weekly. This is a weekly series I do that I'll upload every weekend. It's only the second episode, but I'm going to do my best to upload consistently every weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, where we just go over news, current events that happened over the previous week, some market talk, and also talk what I'm thinking next week as far as some of my positions go and just what I think will happen over the general markets. So let's look at the topics, and then we'll dive into each one a little deeper. Okay. So first one's Bitcoin price action. Bitcoin's looking really good right now. We'll get to that first. This is a chart that was featured on TradingView by Mr. Arshevelev that we'll look at. Again, we'll go into these a little more in depth once we actually get to them. Billionaire optimistic on Bitcoin is a flight to safety. This is a good one, good article. Then we'll get into some traditional market talk, SPY, S&P 500, Dow, talk about where those are going, what the price action's looking like, what the fundamentals are looking like. My favorite stock on the planet right now, Moderna, the Save the World stock. We'll go into Luckin Coffee. That is a Chinese coffee company that was just found out to be completely fraudulent, and they forged all their numbers. So that's a fun story that we'll get into. And then Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, so I was part of Delta Southwest Airlines stakes. So yeah, pretty much single-handedly, Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway tanked Delta stock like 15% after hours. So that one's a bummer, but it also plays into kind of overall market sentiment news that, again, we'll get into once we get to that general markets. But first things first, let's get into the lovely Bitcoin charts. So Bitcoin, again, looking very good. I've been saying this for the past couple of weeks now. It's creating this ascending wedge that it's following super nicely, and it is like really dancing around this top line of resistance. I know it could be a little higher, like up here where it's actually bouncing off of, right around 6,900. But I mean, just the fact that it's spiking up to like above 7,000 is very promising in my mind. It's not even coming close to this lower channel yet, to this bottom line of support, and it's just dancing around 7,000. Which again, the fact that it's breaking 7,000 is a very good sign, because again, those nice even psychological numbers are very crucial in turn, especially 1,000, very large number. So those nice round even psychological numbers, once those are broken, that's a very good sign. And once it starts popping, it's very likely that it'll go up to at least 8,000 once it's cleanly broke 7,000, because then it is very well broken out of this obvious rising wedge, and it is going to the next stop, which is 8K. And yeah, again, we'll see how that plays out over the course of this next week. Again, the macroeconomics around Bitcoin are so strong. As you guys know, if you guys have watched my videos in regards to Bitcoin, you know that just the money printing that's going on, the inflation that is going on within the U.S. and around the world. Not necessarily now. Right now it's very deflationary, so the U.S. dollar is strong because just people are losing so much money. And but the fact that there's going to be trillions printed and pushed into our economy means that eventually, over the mid to long term, there will inevitably be inflation where the U.S. dollar loses value. And once more people learn that, they will put their money into a safe haven asset like Bitcoin, or something that can even appreciate in value, like Bitcoin, in my opinion. Okay, so we'll get to this too. This is just a cool little chart that I wanted to show you guys. This is a completely hypothetical chart that, again, this guy Arshevelev on TradingView drew out. So this is where we are. Where are we right now? Today is April 4th of 2020. So we're right here, and I think this looks pretty good. So it's not quite, obviously, again, this is completely hypothetical. It's just a cool kind of potential of what could play out. He has it going up to like 8,600, peaking up there because of this rising channel, which does have merit if it does follow this channel correctly. But even if it got to like 8,000, again, those nice even round numbers, that would be solid. So it could get up to here within the next few days. But I like what he did here with by making this head and shoulders. So at some point, it will likely test this lower line of resistance and probably touch down back around 7,000. If you guys are thinking about buying right now and wanting to get in, but what I'm doing is waiting probably until next week, either Wednesday to Friday. And seeing if it does actually break up, because if it breaks past 8,000, if it cleanly breaks past 7,000, touches 8,000 at all, that is extremely bullish in my mind, and the tides have really turned for Bitcoin, and I will be short to midterm bullish for sure on Bitcoin. So if it does do this, I will wait for a little reversal, because it will likely come back down after it touches 8,000 to 8,500, and again create this test this lower line of resistance. Let's move my head real quick. So it's expected to touch this lower line of resistance on April 9th or 10th. So again, yeah, later next week would be perfect, and then it would come back up after it retests that lower line. Okay, so this is around where I would buy. Once again it touches 8,000 or 8,500, it will likely come back down to around 7,000 late next week if this plays out correctly. Again, this is completely hypothetical, but it would not surprise me at all to see movement like this in Bitcoin. Okay, so this next story kind of dives into a little bit more fundamentals. This is a billionaire optimistic on Bitcoin as a flight to safety. This is I'll just read this right here. In an interview with Morgan Creek Digital founder Anthony Pompliano, huge fan, Chamath Palihapitiya, again, huge fan of this guy too. Last name, I definitely butchered that. I'm not even going to try to say that again. Billionaire CEO of venture capital firm Social Capital said now that it could be a Bitcoin's time to shine. Okay, so this guy is actually the chairman of Virgin Galactic, early investor in Slack. He made like 1.6 bill last year. This was like the best podcast I've listened to in a while. This guy, over the course of the past few weeks, has become my favorite voice almost in the current economic climate. He's super successful, very like it's hard to question his validity and his competence when talking about this type of stuff. This dude is a veteran. He chairman of Virgin Galactic, made like $1.6 billion last year, owns the Golden State Warriors, just makes him that much cooler. And he's a super cool dude. He's very easy to listen to. So I highly recommend you guys listen to the Pomp podcast with Anthony Pompliano and Chamath Palihapitiya. Chamath Palihapitiya. We'll go with that. So in it, I just wanted to read you guys this. You guys should definitely listen to it because it's fiery. They don't just talk Bitcoin; they talk traditional markets and like macroeconomics as well. But he says, "I think Bitcoin needed a moment like this for it to be relevant. It is still a speculative instrument, and it's too speculative for it to be reliable." So again, if you're involved with the space, as we all know, Bitcoin is speculative right now. The market and the people involved determine its value completely. Okay, but again, once people learn about it, once people become more educated on the brilliance and the practicality of Bitcoin, it will grow, and I think it's very very probable for that to happen in a time like this, when people are really starting to educate themselves financially more. And again, with financial understanding comes the curiosity of other investment vehicles like Bitcoin. Okay, so again, listen to this podcast. They will say much more wise things than I will, but that's what I'm here for, to tell you guys to listen to that. Okay, so check that out, and that'll close out our Bitcoin talk for this week. Okay, so SPY, S&P 500. This is a spider S&P 500 ETF, as you guys know. So this is not looking good. This is what I drew up here is called a bear flag, and this is extremely like a rough sketch. As you guys can see here, there's no real. It's not really following any of the candles perfectly, but I just wanted to show you guys this. It's a rough enough sketch so you guys get the point of what a bear flag is. Okay, so the reason it's called a bear flag is because it slams down, and then it creates this upper channel right here that seems like it might come back. And this is almost literally a textbook bear flag, okay? Which is the reason it's called a bear flag, is because it's the opposite of a bull flag. The same thing can happen if the stock's going up. So this is a very traditionally bearish pattern, and overall fundamentals, the macroeconomics behind everything are still fucked. Everything's still shut down. The economy is still at a standstill, with no real hope in the near future. Again, I am overall optimistic. I think we will come out of this, but I think it will take a few months to come out of it. So I'm still very bearish on the S&P, the Dow Jones, all traditional markets, even commodities. And I do think, again, I said this last week, but I do still think that it will come down. Sorry, let's go to the daily quick. I do still think that it'll probably come down to around here just because it was floating around here for like years. So I still think it'll come down to at least 210. But once it bounces off 210, it will for sure have another bounce up, in my opinion. And then maybe come all the way back down to, actually, you know what, let's go to the weekly quick. I mentioned this a while back that we'd probably see a full 50% retracement. So again, 210. I wouldn't be surprised if we come all the way down here, because there was also these peaks down here at 150, which would complete a full about 50% retracement from where it peaked at 330. So 150 to 180 is my guess on where it'll finally bottom out, but I think that'll happen over the course of a few months. It's going to be very wavy, very up and down. Until then, it's not just going to be a straight plummet, because most of the fear is over. Now it's just kind of a slow grind down once the actual earnings start to flow in over the course of this month. So keep an eye. You guys keep an eye on the earnings, and be careful what you're holding around earnings season, because it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, even if they are forecasting some potential good signs. Okay, so let's get on to the good news, in my mind, which is Moderna. If you guys saw my video earlier this week regarding Moderna, you know that I'm hyper bullish on Moderna, and everything in my mind in regards to this stock looks good. The technicals look fantastic. I actually want to show you guys this. If you have TradingView, this is actually a very I love looking at this indicator. Some may say it's novice, but I mean, TradingView runs on algos. Like, they have it's a quantitative structure that determines their buy and sell ratings as far as TA, technical analysis, is concerned, and they're rating Moderna at a strong buy, and that's a very good sign in my mind. If TradingView's quantitative system is marking any particular stock as a strong buy, that's probably a good sign. Honestly, if you guys just went off of the strong buy and sell ratings, then you could not look at charts at all and just go off that, and you'd probably be successful, because again, it's a computer, it's an algorithm determining that. Okay, so TradingView says it's a strong buy. It's rare. It's very rare to see that. Even a buy is a good rating, is a good sign, but a strong buy is inevitably have to get in on it. Okay. So again, technicals look great. It's way above the 21 MA, which is, in my opinion, the best single indicator you can use, the 21 exponential moving average. So yeah, Moderna looks great. It's still following this upward channel. It easily broke out of this ascending wedge that it had going, and it's still following this kind of beam-like channel that's coming out of it. Okay, so again, next week I wouldn't be surprised if we see Moderna hit break $40, and then again back to psychological numbers. Break 40, you go up to 50, and again, I've said this before, but this reminds me of bubbles. Okay, so this reminds me of the cannabis bubble, the crypto bubble, how the price action was moving prior to absolutely exploding. So Tilray specifically, if you guys are familiar with that, it went from $20 to $200 in the span of a couple weeks, and that's a weed company. This is a save the world company. That's what someone in the comments called it, and I couldn't agree more. This is a save the world company, and everyone is in the same pain across the entire globe. And if these guys can come up with a vaccine and again save the world in a sense, then the markets will reflect that. The price will kill it. I wouldn't be surprised if once we get that news that Moderna pops to 100, and then over the course of maybe a week after hitting 100, it'll go up to 200. If Tilray can do that as a weed company, then the company that's saving the world can easily do that, in my opinion. So again, I have again, if you guys saw my Moderna video, go watch that. I go into the specific positions I have on that. So I'll stop ranting about that now, and you guys can go watch that. But let me know what you think about Moderna. Let me know what you think about everything I'm talking about. Because I love to talk shop with you guys. I always want to see what you're thinking, so I can get some secondary kind of. It's peer-to-peer, it's constructive. So let me know what you guys are thinking, and always love talking shop with you guys. Okay, so let's get on to these two stories. So this happened earlier this week. Looking Coffee is a painful reminder of the extreme fraud risk of some China-based companies. Okay, so Luckin Coffee IPO'd last year. If you guys follow any of the IPOs, and it's very hyped up. It went from what 18 to like $40 recently. It added like a $7 billion valuation. It's ridiculous. People, even some like reputable analysts were saying like this is the next Starbucks, and the stock blew up. And I'll just read these key points. Fabricated accounting at Luckin Coffee led to a 75% decline in the Chinese company's stock on Thursday. Yeah, so the stock in a single day tanked like over 80%. And I feel super fucking bad for anyone who's invested in that, because I have held Luckin Coffee at points, and I have been bullish. But that's the danger of these again, small Chinese companies like this Neo. There's TYHT. There's some cannabis companies based out of China. Like, it is dangerous, and there is a lot of amazing companies that come out of China, but it's just because there's no third parties actually checking in on the data that they're giving, then you don't know if it's forged or not. You don't know if it's fabricated, like in this case with Luckin. So again, the reason I brought this up is pretty much just to say, like, really be careful when you're fucking with Chinese companies like Neo. I hate Neo stock. They're kind of like the Tesla competitor. They're known as the Tesla of China, and that company sketches me out. Their earnings are trash. Their guidance is pretty bad. Like, and Tesla's making plants in China, they're gonna smoke Neo. Neo doesn't have a shot in my mind, but it's still worth like $3 billion or something. So just be very vigilant and aware of companies that are small cap, although they may provide great returns, like Luckin and Neo did. Like, they both have had their times where they shot up, but in the end, they're both down like 80% from their IPO price now because of fraudulent activity and poor practice, and they deserve that. This fucking should not be a company, and they should be sued. They should for sure be sued and have to pay all the investors who lost money back. So again, just be vigilant, be aware out there, guys. Really do your due diligence, because that is key. All right, so last story we're going to get to: Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway sells part of Delta Southwest Airlines stakes. According to regulatory filings, Berkshire sold nearly 13 million Delta shares for about $314 million and roughly 2.3 million Southwest shares for about $74 million. So if you guys happen to see, if you guys got the Robinhood notification, Delta down 15% after hours, that is because Berkshire Hathaway just dumped the stock. And if the Oracle of Omaha, the man himself, Mr. Warren Buffett, is getting rid of these stocks, that dude is prude. Like, he will not get rid of a stock unless he really feels like it could be very detrimental to his portfolio. And I agree with him. I mean, I've agreed with him for it's a bummer that it took him this long to get rid of those shares, because he lost a shitload of money. Like, Delta's down like 70% from its high over a month ago. So he lost a shitload in that. I don't blame him for getting rid of the shares, because I do think these airlines are going to definitely have more room to fall. There's a lot of people who think that the airlines and the commercial travel industry is going to go back to normal within the next couple of months. And I think there's no fucking way that happens. Again, I mention this across all my videos, but people are emotionally changed. Like, this is changing the human psyche as a whole. Like, people aren't just going to want to hop on a plane with a whole bunch of other people in that congested space. Like, this is going to change the way people think about human interaction, human travel, and just, again, like, things like that. So I do think that commercial travel will come back maybe to where it was. Actually, I don't know. I think we might have peaked, to be honest. It will come back. Like planes are still going to be pretty full, and there's still going to be a lot of travel going on. But I think, honestly, we may have peaked in commercial travel. So just to sum it up, I'm with Buffett. I'm shorting, not physically, but I'm mentally short all airlines, all travel companies for the foreseeable future, like in like the next few years, is what I mean by the foreseeable future. Okay, so that's gonna wrap that up, guys. I hope you dug this. I hope you got some value out of it. I hope you learned something. So yeah, again, let me know what you guys think. I was talking shop with you guys. I'm passionate about these topics as well, and I spent a decent amount of time going over what to talk about. And again, I do put a lot of time into thinking about the topics that I'm gonna talk about. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you may want me to talk about next week, or if you guys think that any segments I should include, or literally whatever. Just let me know. So I'll respond to all of you. Also, I want to shout out the bullish merch. Okay, again, oops. So bull hat. Set the mic back up. Getting too excited with the sick bull merch. Okay, so bull hat. Got the bull stealth pocket tee. Again, subtle. I'm all blacked out all the time. Literally, that's all I wear. Pretty much is black with some like, I'll have colorful shoes and shit and like accessories, but for the most part, all my shirts are black. My entire closet's black. So that is why this is the stealth bull pocket tee. So again, go check it out. Links in the bio. It's a good way to support the channel if you appreciate the content and get some sick gear in the process. So if so, great. If not, no worries. But I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. Even if you didn't buy anything, just check out the collection. Let me know what you think. All right. So again, drop a comment if you want to know anything. I'll respond to all of them. And I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed as well. If, again, you find value out of this content and want to catch more. Okay. So until next time, guys, make waves in these markets. Peace. Waves Weekly EP2.